Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Rob Fletcher podcast. We're here to educate and raise awareness. We have another fantastic show and super guest today. On my left, we have pro bodybuilder Lindastevens, elite trainer and Top Gun trainer, and also pro bodybuilder Christian with us today. We have a super guest who's tagging in from Canada. He has a very successful program, Trainer Revenue Multiplier, and we're going to show you trainers out there and small gym owners how to scale your business. But not only that, we're going to tap into the med spas, the doctors. We want to help you to raise that revenue, scale your business, and be a success. And here we are back, and we really have a great show today. This is about information. This is about helping the trainers out there and also tapping into this market of anti-aging. So we always have the best of the best, and obviously today our guests are back. We need them back. We want them back, Linda and Christian here. And we're going to dive right into it. You know, Linda, as I said, is a pro bodybuilder, as is Christian, Top Gun trainers, very successful trainers. And on the other end of the spectrum here, we have Matthew Park. So Matthew, thank you for joining us today.
Good to be here. Looking forward to being on the show, Rob.
Yeah, so Matt, so much to talk about and so little time to do it, but I really want to dive right into, you have changed not only the businesses, but the lives of many, many trainers out there. And Linda and Chris, we had this discussion a couple of shows ago where the saddest thing for me to see is losing one of our greatest assets, which is trainers, because of not being able to scale properly, not being able to manage their business. And this is what you do. You've mastered the art, you're proven strategies, and Linda is a client.
Yes.
So let's tell us, Matt, one, how did this all evolve, and how did you dive into this model of Trainer Revenue Multiplier?
I've been in fitness for about 18 plus years. I began as a trainer myself for the first 7 years. I had the same struggles that most trainers go through, which is earning no income, burning out in both ends, and so forth. And I basically, over the years, from being a personal trainer, having a beverage company, running a bodybuilding federation for 9 years, I learned that trainers go through these stages, of course, being, highly educated, learning all the tools, but couldn't build the business properly and scale properly. 5 years ago, I actually had this idea of wanting to help trainers really from a means of passion to help serve them and give them a chance to actually show them how to actually can scale, but also earn and share what they're worth and build a life built not just on business, but also built on freedom and impact. Hence, TRM was born, and here we are today.
Read through your website, incredible testimonials. As I said, I was not exaggerating. You have helped and improve and change the lives of many of the trainers. So with that said, Linda, give us your feedback on how Matt helped you take your business to the next level.
So I met Matt, I believe in 2017 at the Olympia out in Las Vegas in a gym, oddly enough. And we just became friends and kept in touch. And one day we were having a conversation and I had expressed to him about being a trainer and not making a lot of money and just really working a lot of hours and just not really seeing, the full financial benefit that I wanted to see. And he said, this is what I do. This is my business. He said, let's schedule a call and we'll talk about what you're doing and maybe I can help and see if there's some synergy. So we did. And after that, the rest is really history. I pushed back a little bit because I did the typical, I have to think about it. I'm not sure if I have the money right now. I was in the process of selling my house. I was just through my divorce.
Tough times.
It was
I know you for a long time, and I can. I'm a testament to your incredible role model, inspiration, including to my daughter, which I am going to mention that a little bit to you.
Thank you.
But that's incredible.
It is, and he just said to me, why are you going to put off your life, your career, while you're waiting to sell a house? And he was right. And we worked out a deal, and we started working together. And he really held my feet to the fire, so to speak, and said, okay, now you're working for a gym. They're making a lot of money off of you. You're not getting the full benefit. Let's change that. He gave me homework and said, before we speak next week, I want you to have 5 gyms that are independent that you could go work at and pay rent and take your clients there.
So life changer.
Yes, and I was scared to death.
Well, I mentioned this to Matt earlier, and Christian, you could probably relate to this too, because as trainers, and gym owners, that's the most difficult question. You're challenged with fear of not knowing the unknown.
Yes.
And then trying to figure out, how do I overcome this? This is going to cost money. Matthew was able to do that, but Matt, you said it perfectly. Are you going to, put off changing your life, which obviously it did. Christian, in the business of personal training, what do you find are the most difficult, most challenging bits of adversity as a trainer to succeed or to scale your business? And then Matt, I want you to dive in and give us your insights.
That's a great question. So I would say part of it is believing that you can achieve what you truly want to. What do I mean by that? We all have our rational goals. Then we've got our big dreams. Hey, I want to make 6 figures. I want to make 7 figures, right? But how do I get there? And because you've never done it before, it's hard for you to reverse engineer the process, which is, I actually have worked with Matt too.
Oh, you do?
So in late 2018, I did TRM, and he was the first one that got me comfortable with understanding my value, determining my value,
Wow.
asking for money from clients and being okay with that. And also setting up the systems in which, because if you juggle all the plates, wear all the hats, you'll get burnt out.
Right.
And you just can't scale a business as one person.
Right.
He was the one that put my mind around, how do you get your system set up? How do we make less work for you, get you more profit, get you more time? So the things that he helped me with, which are those, transitioning from working at a gym where they were making most of the money off of my effort to, hey, I've got all these ideas. I have big dreams. I cannot do it in this box.
And you have control now.
Correct.
Right.
And he was the one that said, all right, man, well, this is the process, and being fearful, I understand, because when you've never done something before, what do they say? The devil you don't know is
Better than the devil you do.
better than the devil you do. So it's very easy for people to stay comfortable. Oh, I'll just get more clients.
Right.
I'll just work more sessions.
Right.
You're making them 6 figures. What are you coming home with?
Right.
So, Matt helped me get to 6 figures. So for all you trainers out there listening, find yourself a coach like Matt, like a program like TRM, and invest yourself all in. Don't tell yourself, I don't have the money.
Don't let your fear stop you.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't
because
let
if
fear
you say
stop
you don't have the money, then you never will, because you'll never get started. You'll stay in disbelief. You'll think small, and you won't take the simple steps, because they really aren't that complicated.
Yeah.
We just make them complicated here, right? To get yourself to where you want to be.
So Matt, one of the things we spoke about earlier was, how trainers, time management and that sort of thing. So I want you to continue on with what Christian had to say, and then also, let's try to give trainers out there a head start. Like trainers out there, you have 2 people right here that I just found that out now. That's amazing. That's awesome. So 2 people, 2 elite trainers, successful trainers that are basically letting you know that don't let your fear stop you. Matt's on the other line. Just takes a little DM on Matt, Trainer Revenue Multiplier, but check him out. So Matt, let's continue on with what Christian had to say.
I want to first thank Linda and Christian for those kind words. That was very kind, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think the big thing that I definitely would see the trainers is they get blocked on this belief that they have to grind harder and work more hours to build a great business. And we're being conditioned by social media, other entrepreneurs out there, a lot of them, that 7 days a week, working 12-hour days and nonstop is the way to success. I'm going to challenge that. I believe you can fill your passion and you can earn a great life. You can earn 6, 7, Christian talked about 7 figures a year if you want. It depends how you build the business. Those trainers who obviously have families, who've got partners, who've got children, they want to make a bigger impact in the world than just working 12 hours in gym all day long. I'm a big believer in working with clients one-on-one or in group settings, but do it on your ideal week. Your ideal scale, of course, works in your favor. And then from there, build online, build high, whatever you're looking to achieve. So it comes into a psychological shift with, as Christian talked about as well, also the shift from a national tactical standpoint. So tactical with psychological work hand in hand as you scale from 10K a month, 20K a month, 50K a month, and beyond.
Now, just think of those numbers. How many trainers out there just will never see those numbers because they just don't know how? I think they're so frozen. They're paralyzed by fear. They're frozen. They don't know what to do. They have no direction. And they see similar type of models out there, but I guess everyone's different. But you have the people right here that stuck to Matt's program and made it work. So Linda, when you started to implement or work with Matt, how soon did you actually start seeing things happen, the wheels starting to turn?
Pretty quickly, because once I found a gym that I wanted to call my new home, all my clients followed me, which was amazing.
Okay, so let's step one. So, and you mentioned this too, Christian. Find a gym. So
Yes.
when you say find a gym, so find a gym that's accommodating to your needs, or what define that for me? Because now I'll give you an example. I've been in gyms where some, very rarely, no rent. You just pay your membership,
Okay.
and
That's nice.
the clients pay their memberships, and you're done. Others do a flat fee, and others just suck you dry. So what would your recommendation, both Linda and Christian, be when you're looking for a gym? What do you define that a little bit?
So when I looked, the gyms that I looked at were gyms that I could pay rent at. So it's $20 a person, $20 a session, or a flat rate. And I found a spot that would allow me to do that.
And that was the first action step for you.
That was the first action step. And it's funny because the first gym that I found, and Matt and I have experienced this together several times, that whenever he tells me to do something and I push back, and then I eventually give in, because it's like, USA, and we'll have to tell that story afterwards, but he'll say, USA, you have to do this. And then once I
like that.
once I do that, like the door of the floodgates open, and all this opportunity starts to flow in. And he says, look at every time, you push back, but then you give, you say, okay, and you let me tell you what to do, and you do it. Look what happens. Look at all the prosperity that starts coming to you. So the gym I originally found, I was only there for a few months, and I ended up finding a different spot where I'm at
Probably
now.
a better situation.
A better situation, a better spot, and it's private. It's
Because you're in
one-on-one.
control. You start to take
Right.
control of your destiny.
Right.
You're saying, you're managing now, and you have a consultant here who's sort of advising you and not sort of advising you, and then gives you that action step to what to do next. Now you're all of a sudden,
Right.
the fear is gone. I'm going to do this. I'm committed. But now all of a sudden more opportunities will present themselves because of that.
That's exactly what happened. And I've been the gym that I still use now with some of my clients, I'm still at since 2018 or so.
So you're working mainly out of a gym?
Yes.
Out of a gym?
Yes.
Not in your home or going to...
So my business is made up of, I primarily do more nutritional virtual coaching now with a personal training component to it. I have a person who works for me now that does all the
And I
personal
want to talk
training.
about those steps because I
So
think
we've scaled now.
and that's where those numbers come in, I think.
Right.
If you're not doing that online or taking
Yes.
advantage of that, that's a big...
So my business has changed
Making
a bit.
that list of streams of revenue. There's many different streams of revenue, which I'm going to tap into later, aligning with the doctors like we were talking about, with the hormone clinics, et cetera, which is what Matt's going to be diving into now as well. It's very exciting. So Christian, for you, the move, so you were at a gym.
Yeah, so I was working at Equinox in Mamaroneck for 6 years. And when Matt and I met each other, my thoughts were, okay, this is not, I don't want to move up the chain here in command and become a manager. It's not what I want. I said, I want to make money, and I've got a lot of ideas, and I cannot do it under them, right? So he's like, all right, well, you got to start considering going somewhere else.
Right.
So fortunately, I have a friend who owns a gym not too far from where the gym is. And I want to say for any of the trainers out there listening right now, there's a few things you have to consider. So when you go to a gym, first and foremost, you put your clients first. What do I mean by that? It has to be a facility that caters to what they need. Right? You might think it's cool. Let's say you go to a hardcore grungy
So if you're,
Right.
if you're at a certain location, you're looking at a new location.
Correct.
You want to make sure that that's a great point.
Yeah,
That's an
because I was at
excellent point.
Equinox, which is high end.
Right.
I'm not going to bring them to a powerhouse where they're all uncomfortable. The other thing is, it needs to have the accommodation that they're used to, and or something where you step them up, right? So they're like, hey, now you get this. Now you don't have to worry about parking. Hey, it's this far from the gym.
It's not
You
a
don't have
shock
to
at
get-
all. It's not a
Yes.
shock.
It's not a big change
Exactly.
for them.
You have to make that transition as smooth as possible so they trust you. They can't wait to go. Show them what the gym looks like. Hey, this is where we're going to be working out. They've got this equipment, that equipment. Parking's not an issue. You don't even have to have a membership. I'm just going to pay them. The other thing is trainers. If you're looking for a gym, don't go to a gym with a flat rate. Why do I say that? If for some reason you lose clientele, you still
Flat
have to
rate meaning
cover
they're
that.
paying a rent.
Right.
Yep.
They're paying
Right.
You
or
pay
per
like
client.
this price no matter what. Pay per client. Find a place where you pay per client.
Per client.
Or
What you're doing.
or
I'm paying
negotiate that.
I pay per session. Yep.
Yeah.
And what was your reasoning for that?
So, because if for some reason, let's say you lose some clientele, something happens, and then you still have to cover that rent, now you're losing money. But I've seen places, fortunately, I don't have that any of the places that I've trained, but I've seen places where the person goes in and they're like, hey, we charge a flat rate. And you ask them, you know what? Are you willing to do this deal? I'll give you 20 a head or 25. They say, all right, that works.
What's a rent that people are typically, gyms are typically asking? What's an average?
Typically, I have found it's about $20 per session
20 to
per head.
25, yeah.
Per head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that, so now you're great point. So you want to make sure
that's a great
before you're
point.
changing locations, also you're making sure that those accommodations
Mhm.
are relatable to your existing clients, because that would be a shock,
Yes.
right? Marketing strategies. Like I said, I want to try to. We could talk about this for a lot of things. I want to try to give the listeners some quality information that they're going to walk away from. So great points. Looking at new gyms, not paying a flat fee, right? Not paying a flat fee because you don't want to be locked in if suddenly you lose clients. Let's talk about marketing. I'm going to start with Linda. I'm going to go with Christian, and then you're going to cap this off, Matt. So your top couple of marketing strategies where trainers can either get new clients or seek out new members.
First, I would say talk to the clients that you have and ask for
100%.
referrals. I think people are they seem to forget that,
And that's free.
to ask their existing clients for referrals.
And that's free, right?
You're enjoying our sessions together. Why don't you bring a friend with you to the next session?
Right.
Have someone come and join you, and maybe either it becomes a small group where now you're making more money for the hour, or maybe this person wants to sign on with you one-on-one. But definitely always asking for the referral is key, I think. The other point I would say is look around in your community, ways that you can become
involved.
visible. You want to be visible in your community. So
100%.
maybe there's a local newspaper. Some of the things I've done, I try to write for local publications. And then I'll walk into a gym or a grocery store and they'll say, oh, I saw your article in that. Are you a trainer, a nutrition? I think I need a little bit of help. And people will start asking you questions. So I think that referrals and being visible in your community is really important, whether you go to events or you volunteer your
Agree,
time
100%,
or whatever it is, so people can see you and know what you do. And of course, how you look, you're your best walking billboard.
That's
So
right.
people approach us individually, and when we're together, people are like, who are you two? What do you guys do? And then that's a great opener. So we can say, this is what we do. And then people are like, they'll ask him, can I have your card? Or they'll ask me, or
So those are great ones. What about you, Christian?
Definitely. So become known in your community. Something that I focus on is like public speaking. Now, a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, oh, that makes me nervous. I don't.
Right.
You can even go to your local library, right? Because they want people to come in and say, hey, I'd love to put on a presentation just to speak to the community about exercise, what kind of exercise to do for different scenarios, different goals, healthy choices, a little bit of nutrition talk also. And you just ask them, hey, this Saturday from 10 to 12 or whatever, would you be okay with me giving that presentation? Sure. Then start to market it. Use social media. It's free marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your clients to tell their friends.
Right.
Make a flyer that they can hand out. Advertise it on social media.
Do you do this free or you charge
it.
a fee?
So you have to assess where you are.
Exactly.
I would say in the beginning.
Could go both. One or
Correct.
the other.
In the beginning, I would say do it free because you want to show the community that you're trying to add value.
I agree. There's a payoff.
Right.
There's definitely a payoff.
And the other thing is, you got to go above and beyond. I'm a big fan of Grant Cardone, and he always says 10x. You got to do 10 times as much as you think. So when they come to that presentation, have a little gift bag. You've done this.
Yes.
Have a protein bar in there. Have
A water
a pamphlet
bottle.
of 5 best exercises to do
You
when
go
you're
the extra
traveling.
mile.
Exactly. And then they'll say, wow, they did all this for me. I didn't even have to pay for this. Okay.
Exactly. 100%.
Right? You show
So
you care.
And then also just to piggyback onto that, which are great points, is if you put a water bottle and a power bar or something in a little baggie, print labels and put it on the water bottle, put it on the
this is
power
called
bar.
marketing.
So
This is
that
called
people
marketing,
open, they're like, oh yeah, I remember I went to that conference and this guy, and they'll remember you versus just they're going to toss it.
Yeah, so I just want to say a couple things. 100% agree with you. So back in 1990, when I opened up my gym, there was none of the digital media, none of that at that time. So I had my list. The most important thing, like you just gave a couple of action items, which we were going to have more, like after Mac chimes in. But if you're not doing your part, like taking mental notes here or writing things down and then actually taking steps, you can get 4, 5, 6, 7, a dozen new clients just on those couple different things. What I always did was the same that you mentioned. Go to your go-to members. Those are the ones that your referral. They've been with you. They're a testimonial for you. They will help you. You have to ask and you have to go the extra mile. What Christian said about speaking, and also you, I can't emphasize that enough.
Right.
And I did the same thing when I had my gym. I was relentless. I was, which leads me to the point, Matt, which we'll cover later, not to go ADD here, but I was 24/7. I was in my gym every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. The only reason why I survived that was because I just loved what I do. And I was single. Now I look back on what I did, but there was no other life outside of that. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But public speaking is huge. So trainers, and like Christian said, you don't have to go, oh my God, that's not for me. You can get comfortable. Your local clubs, your community events, you can align with companies, with people, schools, all have opportunities for you to share what you know best. You're not going into there blind. You're sticking to a topic. You'll have a list of topics, whatever that might be. Linda, you're a master at nutrition. So whatever, we have 2 masters here, so they can pick out pretty much any topics. But if you're dialed into something specific, those are your topics. It could be motivation. It could be something that you really like talking about.
There's a lot of opportunity.
A lot of opportunity.
The school thing is great. I've actually spoken at Darien High School in Connecticut several times to the volleyball team, the basketball team,
and they're looking
and they love that.
They're looking for those opportunities. Then
I got some of the parents as clients.
And there you go. But don't forget to take your business cards and maybe a special discount if they take it home. But anyway, so Matt, now. You're on the stage here. So what are your top marketing strategies for trainers out there? So far, we have going right to your existing members, clients. We have get involved in the community, network, get dialed in. You're on.
This is definitely a long piece of the puzzle. I'll kind of make it short and sweet. Everyone knows the iceberg, right? Of the small iceberg on top of the water and big underneath. So think of that as an ideal client. So if Linda or Christian have an ideal client, for example, their best client could be named Brian or could be named Sarah. And that number one ideal client is like ideal. They're midlife for Linda, maybe like over 40 for Christian, right? And if they had those kind of clients 10x'd, the ones that, of course, where Linda or Christian could serve their niche, solve their problems, give them solutions, those clients will pay more for the service. I use iceberg because, of course, I want to use now as 80-20 rule, Pareto's principle. Trainers in the world right now, there's millions out there in the world right now, as far as trainers are concerned. And I want to look at more of strategy as opposed to just lots of action. If you look at strategy and look at the ideal client and actually know who you're trying to serve in marketing that you're doing, now it becomes a laser approach as opposed to a shotgun approach. Now you get to point be much faster, and they're going to pay you invest more into your coaching, and you get better results and have longer retention because now you're serving 50 more of Sarah's or 50 more of John's than just clients who are, A, B, C, D, F, and G. So market number one is knowing who you want to serve.
So now if, again, I hope that you're taking advantage of this information. So my next question is back in the day in 1990, that should give you a little idea of what you're dealing with here. So I would hit my list though. I would look at my list, and it started with every weekend. If I was not teaching or training, I would have a table outside of the Publix or the shopping centers, and we had the lead boxes at the time. Do you even remember?
Yes.
So, but I would make sure we collected those leads, and it went on and on. Then, of course, the phone calls, reaching out to train. I would call up our existing clients and ask them for the referral.
Rotary or push button.
That's right. Careful. but yeah, rotary. So crazy, right? So, but so now streams of revenue. So this, I think, can really give a lot of value. So I'm going to just say a few things. So, we all know you have the one-on-one training. All right, that's great. But how many trainers, how much time do you have in a day to do one-on-one? You have group training. You have online training. You have speaking, which ultimately can turn into a source of revenue. You suddenly like it, you start reading, you start watching videos on how to be a great speaker. All of a sudden now that game changes. Now you're dealing with corporations. Now you're dealing with bigger companies.
Right.
You have, like you said, also article contribution,
Yes.
which that's another, you have to be careful there because that would be a great value. So you can do it free or you can charge. But either way, like Linda mentioned, you know, that's another way to raise awareness of your name and your brand, which is really important. And again, this is the marketing tactics. And then there's product and services, which I want to make sure we tap into the market. You're going to start tapping into, Matt, the anti-aging market, is aligning with different strategic partners, we'll say, out there, where you can get percentages of products and services, right? So, Linda, if dive in on that one, streams of revenue. So, online training, you could do an online seminar, right? You could do an online charge a fee for Zoom.
I'm doing that actually right now.
You do a great job in that, and you're consistent.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. You have to be consistent. One-on-one training, group training, but what will give the most value to our listeners right now, Christian?
So you're saying as far as like multiple streams
of revenue.
Yeah. So you've got to think bigger. You have to think in multiples, right? A lot of trainers come out of the gate and they just think, how can I add more to my schedule, fill more time, and fill my pocket more?
Hit the wall.
Yeah, but the problem is, if you're training 10 clients a day, when do you work out? When do you rest? When do you recover? When do you really get better in the industry? Versus, like Matt had introduced to me, I wasn't a big fan of it because it wasn't like something that I liked, but it's a phenomenal idea, is small group training. Now, if you had 4 people that took 4 hours, let's say you can pair 4 people together, now you just got 4 times the value in 1 hour.
Right.
Now, what if you do that 3 times a day? Now you just did 12 sessions. You got the money for 12 sessions in a matter of 3 hours, right? So when you talk about speaking, so you can put on online webinars. The other thing is training online, right? Let's say you offer, you know, if you're into group fitness, let's say you have 10, 15, 20 people or more that do an online class with you. It took you an hour. Yeah.
So Chris, so Matt, do you, because that's a big, trainers they talk about fear. They sort of fear that too. Many don't take advantage of the online training. So Christian, I want you to finish, but Matt, do you coach people to set up their online training?
Yes,
you do?
correct.
Okay, so Christian, so go ahead.
Yeah, and then, you know, in my regard, I do nutrition, so, you know, you can easily get like a precision nutrition certification or something like that. Now start offering meal plans, right? You offer the plan, they check in with you, but you're not with them for.
And look at now, suddenly you went from, I'm not just a person, you're not just training someone. Now with your menu went from this to like now, and every month, now that's where you're going to scale.
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head of strategic partnerships. So what I've done is partnered with local gyms, and I'm the nutritionist for those gyms. So now I don't have to go find all these people. Here's a gym with 500, 600 members. I'm the nutritionist for them. They're like, hey, we want you to speak at our gym. We're going to send you clients. And then you start, you know, you write up an agreement with them.
How did that happen for you?
So for me, a lot of it is who you know. It's opening your mouth, getting to know people, walking in the front door. Hey man, my name's Christian. Wanted to know, I don't know if you guys have any nutrition component to your facility. No, we actually don't. We were thinking about doing that. And what I did with my buddy Andrew, who owns a facility out where I am, is I was introduced to him through a friend of mine that I met at a gym. And he was like, hey man, this guy's awesome in nutrition. I did his nutrition for a couple months. He's like, I love the product. He's like, we're going to roll it out to our members. And now,
that's awesome.
You know, huge 20,000 square foot facility, lots of people there. We got speaking.
I wonder how many trainers would be intimidated, not maybe intimidated, but think that's, you know, right away they would think it's a no. I would think, you know.
A lot, yeah. And part of it is you have to, go in and figure out what you're going to say to them, what your value add is. How can you add value to them? Hey, I want you guys to have happier members. I want them to get fit. Hey, you're training them, but the nutrition component, think about where they'd be in 6 months.
That's your source of communication, because once you make 1 happy, 2 happy, 3 happy, all of a sudden the gym's happy. Now they're going to really help you.
Correct. And you got to rip the Band-Aid off. Of course you're going to be scared in the beginning. You've never done it, but just try. If you're, I'm a firm believer that if you're confident in your practice and you've done enough of the work, you go in, your knowledge will come through. Sure, you'll become a better speaker over time. You'll become a better communicator, negotiator, but you have to it's like riding a bike. you can always say, "Oh, I don't know how."
How
You
many
never
times
got
did you
on the
fall
bike.
off?
Yeah. So
Get up,
you fall a couple times,
Get
and
up.
then you're off to the races.
nosebleed, try and go.
Yeah.
So Matt, tap in on that one.
Areas of making money, AOMM and TRM. So definitely when it comes to areas of making money, you can look at multiple ways. Definitely you want to get your first stream maximized, systemized, and rolling like a machine. So for example, it's personal training, get that rolling, systemized, and rolling, making 10, 20K a month first. Then you can add your second stream and get that rolling as well. Could be online coaching, could be hybrid coaching, whatever basically it is. From there, you kind of get both working like a machine, and then you can add your multiple streams. I would also suggest don't try to add too many streams too fast, because if they aren't optimized, now you're just burning the candle at both ends. Try to find your one or two areas that kind of like are your money makers. Maximize those multiple areas first, get them systemized, working like a machine, hire your coach if you need to, build SOPs if you need to, because those become more easier to grow and manage and scale than just adding 10 tomorrow.
Right. Good point. Good point, Matt. So we have about 10 minutes left. I definitely want to dive into this. I'm super excited about this, as is Linda and Christian here.
Can I add two more just
Absolutely.
tips to that?
Of course.
I just want to also affiliate links. So if you're using any
Great one.
products,
A great
trainers out there, if you're using any products that
Exactly.
you like, if you're doing
Get
nutrition,
a promo code from the company.
exactly. If
a distribution
Christian and I
deal.
do it with lots of different companies. We have affiliate codes, whether it's bands or dumbbells or
That's a great-
mats
that's a
or
great-
whatever it
Supplements,
is.
equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can get paid on that. Meal prep companies.
Just look at what you're using as far as products, right there in front of
All
you.
those
Probably a
things.
list of a dozen things. Reach out to the company, and then many are doing that now.
Yeah,
because that always
website.
So
yeah.
affiliates are awesome. And the other thing I love too, from a social media standpoint, that's helped my business a lot is I get on local Facebook private pages. So where I live in Darien, Connecticut, I am on the Darien Moms page and some other Darien pages. And I'll sometimes you have to be careful. You can't sell yourself, but you can post like, "Hey, I just finished this great whatever," and people start asking
Well, you see,
questions. So you can do it in a way. Then people are like, "Oh, what do you do?" And
You're more. That's just marketing, right?
Right.
And that's what the thing is. I think people, you're dialed into it, but I think the trainers, you have to be dialed into your business, and your business includes marketing. So that's a great point, Linda. So Matt, I want to talk about this exciting opportunity here. We all know the anti-aging industry, specifically Dr. Bob, who's going to be our next guest. His whole world of anti-aging there at the A4M conference has collaborated with Muscle and Fitness. So Muscle and Fitness, being the global brand it is, one brings great value to the other. So we had this conversation, I guess about a week ago. And so I looked at what you're doing. And it's just a perfect marriage. It's because a lot of these hormone clinics out there, med spas, the doctors are in the same position as the trainer.
they are.
More so the functional, holistic, type doctors and regenerative medicine type doctors. So, Matt, you have the system, you have the plan. Go ahead, tell us. What's the plan?
I think it's going to be multi-leveled, because the doctors, of course, this area even better than I do, Rob, for all these years, and Dr. Bob probably knows this, is that it's showing these medical professionals how to actually scale a business with the proper systems and offers and marketing and sales processes, actually, and doing it in a way they actually can have a life beyond just being in the office 7 days a week. I think it's the biggest thing, is trainers the exact same way. We're being so conditioned to just work all day long, and almost like a badge of honor, which is, again, I'm a big component of working hard. Trust me, I'm from a farm. I was born and raised in a farm with cows and pigs, so I get that. I think the biggest thing is there's also an increase in the world of using, other drugs to keep us going. All those people are sleep deprived, depression's increased, all these things, because we're being almost subdued the wrong way. Now, medical professionals are so needed in this world. Anti-aging is a growing market, as you mentioned, Rob. We almost want to show them now, how do you grow a great business in this field and be healthy and successful, have freedom doing it, so you can grow your practice and have a life beyond that and serve your patients at the highest level.
I'm super excited about that. And to give the trainers out there a bit of information, both Christian and Linda work with doctors. So you work with Rob at Juventi, doctors and the med spas. So now, to your clients, and that's also another potential stream of revenue for you, where now you're giving the med spa, the doctor, a client they are then going to buy their services, and then there's other opportunities there for product sales or percentage of sales. So again, looking into your area if you're dialed in, because we all know how important blood work is. Not too many are still doing that. I think many are not on that plane yet. So, but ultimately, so we're dialing down, Matt. In closing, I definitely want to do a part 2. I want to really talk about more how it can help the trainers succeed, and also now the doctors. And in closing, Linda Stevens, founder of Midlife Mastery, pro bodybuilder, elite trainer, great channel on Muscle and Fitness Plus. And you can find Linda at her social media.
My Instagram is Linda Stevens Fit, and Stevens is STEPHENS. So Linda Stevens Fit, FIT.
And check her out, send her a message. And as with Christian, Top Gun bodybuilder, trainer, has his own company, Relentless Fitness and Nutrition. And where's that? In Connecticut?
So I'm based out of Westchester.
Oh, you are?
Yep, but I do online. My primary is online nutrition.
And online too. So where can they go to communicate with you?
So you can come to Instagram, Christian F. Palmer, right? Also on Muscle and Fitness Plus. YouTube, Relentless Fitness and Nutrition.
Both their channels. Highly, if you don't know about Muscle and Fitness Plus, it's a new platform under the global brands, of course, or alongside the global brands, Muscle and Fitness Service Flex, and the renowned Mr. Olympia Weekend. Both Christian and Linda have great channels. So you get the information here, you go there, they're going to dial you into some super valuable information. So Muscle and Fitness Plus, and then we're going to close it out here with our main man over there, Matt, who's changing the lives of many trainers, as you guys are training all these sorts of people. So thank you to what you do. So Matt, can't thank you enough. Trainer Revenue Multiplier, I think that's straightforward, right?
That's it.
On Instagram, website, and we're definitely doing a part 2, Matt. I can't thank you enough for all you do for the trainers out there, for the gym owners, because just as much as you guys are changing their lives, it's people like Matt who's diving in. We want you to succeed. We want you to be successful, because that's what's going to make the world healthier, more positive, fit, and strong. So Matt, thank you very much. We're looking to part 2.
Thank you, Rob, Linda, and Christian. Really appreciate this episode. Thank you very, very much.
So I'm Rob Fletcher. Make sure you tune in. You can find our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Muscle and Fitness Plus, YouTube, and soon the Rob Fletcher podcast website. This is all about, as I mentioned, education and raising awareness. Today we really dived into trying to help the trainers, giving you some tips. So I hope you took some notes and just implement a few of them. Take action, but do something. So make sure you tune in. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Matt.